Hey, what is up, guys? It is Sam from Harkey Fishing. It is August 11th and it is scorching. We got 98-degree outside temperature right now. It's Wednesday and we are getting ready for the Wednesday night fishing tournament again, and wanted to come to you and give you a little bit of a fishing report. The lake level has been very consistent. We are still sitting at about 916.6. It's up and down about a half an inch. They every now and then they'll generate some water about every evening between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock for some electric generation, and but about the same time they're letting more water in from Beaver Lake. So real consistent on the water level, and the water temperature's been about 87.4, so it's hot. And anyhow, the bite's been fairly decent. This last Friday night we weighed in about 13.5 pounds. It once again took about 17 to win. And we did get big fish of the tournament, 436, I think is what we weighed on that. And that fish came on a jig. A little bit of kind of what's going on with these fish. They're definitely relating to the core brush piles. That's one of the things that just about everybody that's getting these 17-pound limits, they're finding a brush pile that's in it. And it's really no secret. There's, you know, I'd say at least half of the boats that are in these tournaments are specifically fishing either brush piles that they put in or the Corps of Engineers brush piles. And so, very common pattern. Most of the time they're throwing a jig or a big worm through that. And even hearing several of them that are getting on top of the brush piles that are anywhere from 20 to 35 feet deep and drop shotting on those and catching some nice fish. But thing is, almost every brush pile has some fish on it, but there's very few of them that have the quality fish. And so you know, it's one of those things that if you are hitting brush piles, don't get locked into fishing a brush pile unless you're catching quality fish out of it. And if you are, man, stick with it for a little bit. And another thing is, it's a real timing thing. Obviously there's little feeding windows that these fish get in. So just because a brush pile doesn't work for you now doesn't mean it's not going to work tomorrow or even in an hour or two. So you know, stick with that a lot. Few other things that the fish are doing. There's still fish to be caught on these long gravel points. If you've got decent sonar, you can find it on sonar, or if you have the luxury of side imaging, down imaging, or live scope, you can find some of these long points, especially the points that are near the channel. If you can find that where that point rolls off from about 15 feet down to about 25 to 30 feet fairly fast. There's a lot of those Kentuckys that are really stacked up on there, and you can have a fun day. And on those things, I mean, man, you can catch those fish on just about anything. I like throwing a jig on them, but man, a drop shot works great on those as well. You can pull a creature bait through there. You can pull a Carolina rig through there. Just something that's going to be near the bottom. The fish are definitely liking the kind of active creatures. So like a brush hog or a twin tail grub trailer, something that's got a lot of movement and tentacles on it. Berkeley's got a great chigger crawl that'll work on that. And so those things that make a lot of water movement and move a lot of water are kind of your keys. No doubt the drop shot bite is good, and if you're just wanting to catch fish, I still tell you that's the best thing. We're gonna try to release a video this Sunday on drop shotting of the docks, the bridge pilings, and points. I want to cover those three things, and so be looking for that video to drop this Sunday. Man, and just a little side note, if you hadn't smashed subscribe on that button, man, do that right now. That helps us out a bunch. Like the video. Man, more than anything, get out here and come fishing. It's so much fun to get out here with friends and family and just bring them fishing. It is hot. That's one of the reasons I love these during the summer. I love these nighttime tournaments. So, you know, you can get out here. It's still really hot right now, but we're sitting in the shade, and it's going to be dark here in a couple hours, and it's just perfect, beautiful temperature. So I'm going to do a little segment real quick on what's on deck, because, you know, it's really easy for me to tell you what I'm fishing with, but I want to show you exactly what I got tied on for tonight's tournament, let you look at it, and so you know exactly what we're going to be using. Now, I've got other rods that are thrown in the box, and I may have to drag one of those out, but I want to show you what I've got on right now. So check this next segment out. All right, guys, so here we are. What's on deck, man? So first thing is my set of 3-day rods, and I've got 3 rods I'm going to be using before dark. The first one is going to be a Chompers 5/8" brush jig. I usually use a twin tail trailer, the Chompers twin tail trailer on these, but tonight we got rigged up with a baby brush hog, watermelon candy baby brush hog. I did dip the tails in chartreuse because man, the perch spawn is on, and especially in these brush piles, a lot of them are loaded down with perch, and so that's a great way to catch them. The next thing is something you may not see much. This is they call it a punch rig, or I've even heard it called a Zika rig, but this is kind of my go-to for flipping shallow cover. We have been talking quite a bit in the last few weeks about flipping shallow cover, and we're going to go actually do some of that tonight, see if we can find some in some flatter pockets, and just try that out. And so since I'm doing that, the last thing I've got on a little, I guess you'd call it a Horny Toads, what I've always heard them called. And this thing's rigged up on braid. We got it on 30-pound braid, little EWG hook. I think that's a 4-aught hook. And man, you just reel that along the top. It's a real subtle top water, and those things really work good. So let's check out the night stuff now. All right, so here's the night fishing rigs, and you're going to notice it doesn't look a whole lot different than the day fishing stuff. We've got a Chompers 5/8 brush jig. I did change this up, and we've got a blackberry colored baby brush hog trailer on that. Lots of action. And then here's a staple. This is day or night. We got the 10-inch old monster on there in plum. That's always a go-to. You always want to have that tied on in the summer. Next thing, a little shaky head. That's got a little Elastec or Strike King Zero on there in PB&J. That's a great fish catcher when the fishing's tough. And then last but not least, if we're still flipping, we got another one of the little punch rigs on. And then we've got a Z-Craw on there to help us get some fish in there. So that's kind of what's on deck. Differences in fishing line on that. We've got all 20-pound Bass Pro Shop Excel clear blue with fluorescent, and so we turn the black lights on, and we go to catching them. So we'll let you know how we did. So guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Harkey Fishing, we appreciate all your support. If you've got questions or comments, make sure and drop us a comment below, and we'll do our best to get an answer for you. Until then, keep your lines wet, man. Take care.